Hello, Verida, and welcome to another episode of Life Inside Verida. Today, we have some very special guests with us. We have the information technology team for Verida, and we've got a lot of great specialists here that are going to share information with you. We're going to ask a few questions and have a little bit of a conversation. We hope you will enjoy it. But before we do, we would like to do some quick intros and let everyone introduce themselves, tell you who they are, what they do, what their role is, and then we'll take it from there. So we're going to get started right now, and we're going to start down on this end of the table.
Hello, my name is Jason Henderson. I am the Director of Technology, um, responsible for the infrastructure, basically the system that allows your computer to connect to external systems. And I'll pass it on.
Thank you, Jason. My name is Candy Neal. I am the product manager here. I'm responsible for strategy for Insight, our in-house system, as well as our portals.
Thank you, Kenny. My name is Julian Brown. I'm the mobile technology lead. I'm responsible of making sure that the mobile technology within Verida is operational, and I support all 8 states regarding the portals and the iPads and iPhones.
Thank you, Julie. My name is Quintavious Prayer, also known as Q. I'm one of the IT help desk leads. Pretty much I assist with everything pertaining to IT.
Thank you, Kid. My name is Jay Song. My title is a network administrator. Basically, maintain the servers, sometimes networks, and supporting the end user and IT folks. And that's my role.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. We appreciate those quick intros. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to jump right into our questions. We have a series of questions that we want to ask IT, basically so that we can get more information about what they do. Some of you out there may be familiar with your local IT person as they come to help you in situations when you need them, but some of you may not. You may not know the breadth of what information technology does. And when I say that they do a lot, they do incredible work, an incredible service for the corporation. So we're going to jump in and ask a few of these questions, and hopefully it'll help you be a little bit more informed. So my first question that I'm going to start with is, can you tell us about the suite of services IT provides to Verida and where your teams are located? Can anyone help on that?
Yeah, I'll go for that, Keith. So the services that we provide would include your laptops, your computers for the call center, mobile phones for providers, and we'll talk about providers shortly. Um, pretty much any device that's going to connect you to a member or another coworker.
Okay. So in that case, any type of hardware, whether it's your computer, et cetera, it connects you to other individuals within your own department, or maybe even in other states, or with other individuals outside of the company.
That's correct.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Well, now tell us about your teams. Are your teams just located here at the corporate office, or where are all these IT guys located?
So we have a larger presence here at the corporate location. We also have technicians spread across the southeast in all of our offices.
Okay. Excellent. And so, in terms of that, like I guess you said, you all service basically any individual within the corporation.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Our
So,
organization.
so we're talking, over 1,100 employees throughout Verida that this IT team is responsible for. And we know that that's a major undertaking, but you guys, from what I've heard and what I've seen and what I've witnessed, you all have done an excellent job. So can you tell our audience a little bit more maybe about some of the services in terms of software, like our proprietary software, Insight. We know that that is sort of a central focus of what we do here, because it works right along with our customer service agents. But maybe y'all can tell us a little bit about Insight.
Sure, I can do that. And as you mentioned, yes, Insight is a proprietary system. It was developed in-house about 15 years ago. It is what our call center agents use, but we have various channels for booking and scheduling trips. So we have a member portal that's available for our members that can schedule a trip online using our member app or the member portal. That information is fed back into Insight, where our customer service agents will dispatch those trips out and make sure we have the member serviced. Then we also have a client portal, and that allows our clients to go online and book trips on behalf of the member. And we also, lastly, offer a facility portal for those facilities to schedule trips for members as well.
Excellent, excellent. So we're definitely connected.
We
I
are
guess
connected.
in a sense,
We're
yeah.
connected.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, for those watching and listening, what are the different channels for contacting IT when you have a technical issue? I know that, from time to time, something may happen to your laptop or computer or maybe even your mobile phone, and you need some help. But I know that, as with everything, there are channels and levels to get the help that you need. So can someone maybe share a little bit more about how we reach out to IT to get the help when we need it?
Pretty much you have just a few ways you can reach out to us via email, ticketing system, which is Zendesk, and Microsoft Teams as well. But we definitely prefer creating a ticket just so we can make sure that you guys are taken care of in a timely manner.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit more about this ticket. For those that are listening, what's the process and what is a ticket? And how does that work?
A ticket is just like, for example, you go to another store and you pretty much need help, and you have to pull a ticket, and just so that agent can be aware that someone needs assistance. Exact same concept with us as well, but with our ticketing system, of course, you have to give a little bit more detail to exactly what's going on and what sort of issue you're having, and we will usually assign those tickets to the appropriate agent who can definitely assist that customer.
Okay. Now, I heard you say one key word that I thought was pretty interesting, because even with marketing, and we have a portal where we get requests as well, but you mentioned when you're putting in a ticket, providing detail. And I guess that's probably an important part in terms of you being able to figure out what the issue is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because without detail, how can you really resolve an issue?
Mm-hmm.
Just like your car gives you detailed issues, and how can you fix it without knowing those details? So it's very key to making sure that those details are provided, and we can get you back to work as soon as possible.
Excellent, excellent.
That's right. So the more detail you provide, the quicker your issue can be resolved.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's great. Well, now that we've talked maybe a little bit about the ticketing system, let's talk about maybe some of the important priorities for IT, because I assume that, you've got a number of things that are going on throughout the corporation that you have to focus on. Some things may be a little bit more important than others. So maybe can you tell us how you focus on what priorities need to take place on a daily basis, weekly, monthly basis?
Yeah, I can give you a summary. So the primary focus that we work towards is to make sure that the members get the service they need in a timely fashion. And on the IT side of that includes security, making sure the system is protected, as well as performance of that system, to make sure the members, if they're calling in and we need to look up information, that system Insight is responsive and available. So that's the primary goal that we work towards every day.
Excellent.
So yeah, we don't break it out as far as the daily, monthly yearly thing. It's just a daily process that we go through and just make sure we're doing whatever we can to make sure the system's available.
Okay. So day to day, make sure everything's operational, up and running.
That's right.
Excellent.
And of course, there are, weekly, monthly objectives that we go through that's needed for audits and such. So, there are processes for that, but the end goal, make sure the members are serviced in a timely fashion.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, let's talk about, since we're talking about the members, we're talking about getting things done in a timely fashion. How does customer service fit into information technology in terms of what you do for your fellow employees as well as your members or providers or facilities, clients? How do you all look at customer service and how important it is for you all?
Well, customer service is definitely a critical need in a lot of places. Doesn't matter where you go. You can look at customer service as a added skill. I think is necessary. Every client here, in which our colleagues, we look at our colleagues as customers. So therefore, you have your upset colleague, frustrated, someone who might not understand technology. So therefore, at times you have to walk them through step by step on how to find certain things that you may need to help resolve their issue. But we also use an application that give us the ability to remote into their devices. So we'll be able to have a better understanding and look at their screen and see exactly what's going on. And at some times, during those times, you can even educate the client on what to do the next time it happens.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, thank you for that information. Now, let's switch gears again. And I'd like to ask a question about weather and outages, and maybe how does the team respond when there's some unforeseen power outages? The weather, maybe there's a hurricane going on, or maybe there's an electrical storm and, there's an outage in the building. I'd like to ask you, how do y'all respond to that? And kind of like personally to ask you, is there a level of pressure in terms of trying to make sure things are back up and running because of what we do and who we serve? So can anyone just kind of share about outages and, how do we deal with those?
Well, basically the outage by the natural storms or any other things, our servers, network everything is in the data center at the downtown. So we are pretty much 100%, actually not 100%, but it's about like a 99.9999% downtime with your data center.
Yeah.
So if they are outage of their location, they may to go to home or any other place that have the internet service, they can pretty much access to our system from anywhere, only from the inside of the United States. If they plan to traveling to the outside of the United States, they will not able to access it.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Include that, we are pretty much running 24/7, 365 days.
Wow.
There's not much of a problem, even there's any major problem out there.
Yeah. Well, now, that's incredible, because when you just think about that, being able to run 24 hours, 7 days a week, making sure that you've got everything in a data center that I'm sure is super secure and it's running 99.999% of the time. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And the fact that there again, if you had to shift, which we do sometimes here, you would be able to be mobile as well and still gain access as long as you're in the United States.
Right, exactly.
But if you're outside of the United States, then that's a little bit of a challenge.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you. Let's talk about other extremes. Of course, we all experienced maybe about 3 years now ago, the pandemic. And we know that the pandemic was a trying time for individuals, people, families, but corporations as well. And I know I can remember when we sort of got the word, so to speak, that we were going to have to change the way we did things.
Mhm.
And I know that information technology was really a central force in ensuring that we got people where they needed to be to there again, keep people up and running, just like our data center, so that we wouldn't miss a beat. So maybe you all could tell us a little bit about the history of what IT had to go through during the pandemic and, what came out of it.
Yeah, I'll start off. So initially, we were pretty 100% on site. There were only a handful of remote users at the time, and at the beginning of the pandemic, we needed to shift, as you said, and it was a major shift. So we went from 100% on site to 100, just about 100%. Yeah, it was 100% off site,
Wow.
remote workers. So, and that shift needed to be done within a certain time frame, and it was a short time frame, which was maybe 30 days.
Yeah, because I was about to ask that. I said, I know we had to shift. How quickly did you have to get, all this? Because at that point in time, I think we still had a large number of employees that had to make that move and shift.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So it was, I want to say we'll just say 1,000. We had to make sure that we had our infrastructure and remote connectivity configured and ready to accept users working from home, instructions for the users once they have their equipment at home, how to connect it. Because, of course, we can't visit everyone's home, right?
Right.
So we needed to have instructions on how to connect the computer and their home internet. All of these factored into a little bit. It took a little extra time up front, but we had instructions that we modified throughout the time period, and it was a successful transition. And I want to say it took about 30 days.
About 30 days. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So during that time, what was probably the most challenging thing you think for IT during that time?
During that time, the most challenging thing I would say was being able to kind of obtain the equipment that was needed for users to take home. The equipment on site needed to be packed up and taken, the users could take that home. But some of that equipment needed to be upgraded so that it would work remotely.
Okay.
So the biggest time consumer, I'd say, would be obtaining equipment, because you got to remember we're in a pandemic, right? So as far as drivers delivering equipment and such was delayed.
Wow.
But we were able to kind of get ahead of it before things got too slowed down. So we were able to get what we needed up front and get it deployed in the hands of the end users.
Oh, that's excellent. Now, did that have any impact on Insight during the pandemic, or were you able to just continue to run just as you normally would?
Insight was stable. Agents just needed access to it, so they needed that equipment. And luckily, as Jason mentioned, they were able to get it out fairly quickly. So no impact to Insight.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And what about mobile? Was that a challenge as well? Or
it was, because a lot of agents at the time needed mobile phones. So we had to have an increase mobile delivery and then ship those phones out to those who needed the phones, as well as the support. So a lot of thought came into place as far as the priority of who to support, and as well as if the lines does go down, then we have a backup to support those who needed their phones.
Wow. Yeah. And Jay, in terms of the network and uptime and so forth, were there any things that you all had to shift and do, or because you got that data center there, was everything sort of all systems go?
Yeah, it wasn't any problem with the data center. Just monitoring the older servers and making sure it's running. If there's any problem, we alert to the IT.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to drive down to the extra hardware, get it replaced on time.
Mm-hmm.
So always trying to make the servers up 100%. As I said, data center uptime is 99.999%. That's another challenge.
Absolutely. Well, there again, I appreciate you all just sharing a little bit about that particular time because, again, I don't, it seems like it's been a few years, but during that time, it was challenging for a lot of companies to make that shift. So kudos to all of you for everything that you did to ensure that, all of our employees were able to work remotely for the first time and be able to do it and continue to do the job that they need to help our members. Now, what I'd like to do is maybe even shift from the pandemic to talk about something I think that's really important when it comes to information technology, and that's security. Security is extremely important. And, maybe you all can tell us maybe a little bit because it is security. I'm sure there are things that you can't tell us, but what can you tell us about, our team of Verida professionals, that helped, keep our computers and our data safe?
All right, I'll start off. We have several layers of security that we've implemented over time. The level of security that's needed nowadays is a little bit higher than it used to be, right? So there's a lot of avenues that we need to look at and kind of make sure that we're protected. That includes, so it all starts from end user or user on their computer trying to connect into the company system. So that endpoint could be a laptop or a thin client or just a workstation. We need to start there, make sure that device is secure. And then also on the system that it's connecting to, that system needs to be secure and able to detect and respond to any incidents or malicious activity or abnormal behavior. So we have several systems in place that look for different things, I'll say, that can detect and alert and respond and kind of mitigate any problems that we may encounter.
Excellent. Now, I know again there over a period of time, and I've been here with the company for almost 7 years now. But let's talk about phones, and that's a part of what information technology services and manages as well. We've got a whole infrastructure of telecommunications that have to be because of course our job here is receiving calls from members to get scheduled for transportation. So how are we currently set up today versus say maybe 5 or 10 years ago in terms of our phone systems, the landlines, maybe even mobile? Have we done anything different over the past several years or so?
Yeah, we sure have. So I'd say we'll say 5 years ago, we used to have, of course, everyone was on site, and the phone system that members and external clients would call into all came into our data center. Since then, we've evolved into a more redundant cloud-based system, which allows us to have more redundancy and kind of ensure uptime of the system. So, it goes back to us making sure we have a system in place that's going to be available for members to get service. I'll say, I'll call it rapid service, right? So that we can respond quickly to the needs of the members. So we have a system now that allows us to do that.
Great.
And being that it's in the cloud and it's not we call it on premise, but it's not at a physical building.
Mm-hmm.
By having it in the cloud, we can utilize the cloud resources, which allows it to be more expandable. We can grow our footprint with that provider as needed. And we don't have to maintain the physical equipment, because that's always a limitation. If you need to grow and make your system allow more connectivity, you need to purchase more equipment. Now we don't need to do that.
Okay.
We can grow and scale down as needed.
Yeah.
More efficient and less interference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely high tech.
Absolutely.
It's
You
pretty
stepped up
high-tech.
a little bit. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, and I can add a little bit on the mobile part that, of course, when when technology involves, you have to think it twice about as far as how you're going to roll out different phones. So, if you go outside the company in our own houses, there aren't any landlines, and people nowadays use mobile phones to speak.
Yes.
So now that we're now moving to a brand new corporate office, the landlines that we had at the old office are really obsolete.
Yeah.
So now we have more managers, those who aren't really taking phone calls. They need actually, as far as communication, to speak to one person or another person. So they have mobile phones or iPhones to, communicate and use their phones as if they're using their laptops or their computer.
Yeah. Sort of an all-in-one assistant there.
Right.
That we can use to communicate.
Right.
Yeah. Fantastic. So now, not sure if many of our audience members know, but we have specialists purely focused on mobile technology, and we've just talked to Julian about that. And you've told us a little bit about your role. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about maybe what mobile technology, what that role plays within the company, and who does it touch? Are there people within the organization, people outside of the organization, and maybe how are they all connected together? How does this all work?
Sure. So just as Kenny mentioned earlier, we have portals. We have the client portal, the facility portal, the member portal. We also have the provider portal, and those are specifically for providers who use our mobile app on the iPads or the iPhones or Android, and the data that comes from that mobile app feeds into the provider portal. So the providers can schedule trips on the portal. They can view their manifest. They can, as well as bill South or Verida for those trips that were performed on that mobile app.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
And as well as the iPhones. So again, we support iPhones and the iPads for drivers. So the drivers who transport the members, they use our iPads. And then we have to make sure that the iPads are secure so that way they can't do anything they should not be doing. So it's a lot of things that go into the mobile technology of our providers and our drivers.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'll add my 2 cents real quick. There was a keyword that was mentioned, manifest, and that manifest, without going into too much detail, provides the provider details on like who is this member that I'm going to be providing the service to, and specific details about that member, so that the driver is aware of what they need to do.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. So what I'd like to do as we get ready to wrap up, and I want to thank all of you, but I would like to maybe ask you all to share maybe a few tips, maybe some tech tips on things that our employees should know or maybe share some information with them, some nuggets of information that they can take back with them. So does anyone have any tips or recommendations that you can share with our fellow Veridans?
Oh, absolutely. Any sort of emails you receive that has some sort of link, you don't recall ever receiving any sort of email from a particular sender, don't click on a link, because when you click on a link, you pretty much taking a giant risk of your computer getting hacked and then our networks getting hacked. So it's very important. Do not click on any links.
Thank you. Yeah, anything else?
If you're a wise client and remote into the remote desktop server, and somehow the Teams stuck or Chrome's slowing or Inside runs slow, minimize everything on your screen and look for the sign out icon from the desktop and sign out. Signing back in like 3 to 4 minutes, which is you're taking a break and signing back in, and you should be good.
Wow. So sign out and sign back in.
Yeah, don't disconnect. Every user is disconnecting from the server side, but disconnect meaning is it's keeping a session alive. So please try clicking on the sign out icon.
Excellent.
I can add something. So if you need support regarding the mobile part, the mobile technology, the best way to contact our department is isupport@verida.com. And just as Q mentioned before, it's a ticket that comes to our group that we can go ahead and work those tickets.
Excellent.
And I'd like to add to that, Julian. So when contacting support for Insight issues, you can email Insight Support. And again, include as many details as you can into that support ticket. Any screenshots that you can capture, please include that, and the Insight Support team will contact you as quickly as they can.
Thank you, Candy. Excellent. Well, thank you all. Very informative. I hope you all have enjoyed our session today with information technology. We look forward to maybe even doing another podcast in the future. But until then, thank you all, Verida, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.